I'm Jen, this is Remembered Reads, and this is going to be a March Mystery Madness themed library haul, which could also double as my TBR for March Mystery Madness, since this is going to be the bulk of the mystery themed books that I'm going to be reading next month. First up is Her Beautiful Monsters, which is book number 2 of Tantimedh's Ravi P.I. series, which is a series about a private investigator in London who does a lot of high-profile investigating, and the series also has a bit of an urban fantasy element in that the main character sees gods, and they sometimes give him insight into the crimes or situations that he's investigating. This just came out a few weeks ago, so I've been looking forward to this one since I read the last one. It's not a perfect series, but it is a lot of fun. Next up is Volume 3 of Velvet. This one is called The Man Who Stole the World. I actually have Volume 2 on hold because I have only read the first one so far. This is a comic book spy/crime thriller series. It's written by Ed Brubaker and drawn by Stephen Epting. The back describes it as Velvet Templeton's hunt has led her into a dark web of lies, murder, and international business. So, yeah, this should be entertaining, and before I read this, hopefully Volume 2 will show up. Next up is Charles Todd's A Casualty of War. Charles Todd is a mother and son writing team, so they're actually 2 people, and they have 2 main series. This is part of the Bess Crawford series, and it centers around a First World War nurse who solves crimes in her free time. This one in particular sounds like someone shows up at the medical station looking for a missing person, and Bess Crawford is going to help them find this missing person. I always find these to be a great mix of a general whodunit and some First World War historical drama, so I expect that to be entertaining. Next up is The Gigolo Murder. This is part of Mehmet Murat Somer's The Turkish Delights mysteries, which are about a drag queen in Istanbul who is mostly an IT professional, but also solves murders in his free time. In this one, I believe the boyfriend of the main character has a brother-in-law who either goes missing or is murdered. No. The brother-in-law has been arrested for the murder of a notorious gigolo, so sleuthing ensues. So that should be fun, and the author actually appears as a character in the books, which I always find hilarious. This is kind of a funny series in that it has the very light tone of a cozy mystery, but it does have stronger language and situations. So it's not a cozy, but tone-wise it almost feels like one, which is funny. Next up, I have The Unquiet Dead. This is by Ausma Zehanat, and this is, I believe that these are set in Toronto, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe the series is called the Rachel Getty series, and the main character is a detective, I think? Yes, she is. And it's about her and her boss, and they are looking into a situation which I believe ends up being about Balkan war criminals. This is the first in the series. I haven't read any of these yet, but I've been looking forward to picking these up. Next up is a book that I saw, I can't remember who recommended this now, but I've seen a couple of people talk about this series. This is Stephanie Gayle's Thomas Lynch series. This is the first one, which is called Idle Threats. Since I haven't read any of these before, I will read out the back. In the summer of 1997, Thomas Lynch arrives as the new chief of police in Idyll, Connecticut. And there's a murder on a golf course. The detective knows the victim, but he doesn't. If Lynch tells his detective about meeting the victim, he'll reveal his greatest secret, that he's gay. So he works the angles of the case on his own, and he used to be in the NYPD. I've definitely seen this on several people's channels, so if you're one of the people who's read this, tell me, did you enjoy it? Because I remember putting it on hold because I saw it twice, 2 or 3 times in 1 week on BookTube, but I no longer remember who recommended it. And finally, I have The Lost Ones. This is by, the library sticker is over the author's name. This is by Sheena Kamal, and I believe this is set in Vancouver. Yeah, you can see the Vancouver skyline along the top there. This is described as a dark psychological suspense. It's about somebody who was adopted as a child and has disappeared, and drama ensues. I don't think I've read any mysteries or suspense or thrillers set in Vancouver, so I think that's the reason I decided to pick this up. I'll definitely be curious to see how that turns out. So yeah, so that's my stack of books here, and I'm definitely looking forward to reading those. I'll probably... Now they've fallen over. So I'm definitely looking forward to reading those, and I'll probably pick up an audiobook or two. I'll see what's available on both Hoopla and Overdrive. So if you're doing March Mystery Madness, what are you reading? Are you reading any of these same books or something completely different? I'd love to hear about it. That's it for now.